Good afternoon. Today I'm filling garden bags, as you can probably see behind me. So this soil is from around the other side of the house, and it has got quite a few weeds and things in it because it's in a heap that I dug up from somewhere else. Anyway, so I'm going through and pulling as many out as I can, which is, working with the soil is quite therapeutic in a way on a nice sunny day. What I'm planting are potatoes. So I have 3 different varieties that I'm planting. So a couple of earlies and then a main crop. I think I'm going to run out of bags before I run out of potatoes. So what I'm doing is, with the earlies, I'm putting actually 5 in each bag because they won't be in there as long and you don't want them too big anyway. And then with the main crop I'm only putting 3 in, which even then might be too many for the size of the bag, but we'll see. So what I'm adding to the soil, I mean, they would probably be fine just in the soil, but because they are in bags, I'm adding some sheep pellets, which the reason I buy sheep pellets and not sheep manure is because sheep manure often has a lot of weed seeds in it, which we can do without. And I'm also adding a little splash of blood and bone, so along with some cheap potting mix. I was using a special vegetable mix, compost type stuff, but I've run out of that because I only had 1 bag, and now I've already done 3, 6, 7, 8. I've already done 8 bags, so I think it will be absolutely fine with just some ordinary potting mix and the pellets and things. That will suffice. So we'll chuck that in. And this is, you might hear that, because we have quite clayey soil. This is really to lighten it a bit and help retain the moisture. Sort of a bit like a kid making mud pies again, really, except without the water. So I know there are still some weeds going to escape, well, weed seeds going to escape my eye here, but I could be here all day and even put it through a sieve and that, but it's not really useful. The main thing I really want to get rid of is the oxalis, because that will multiply. There's also a lily type thing in amongst this as well, but I think I've got most of them. Unfortunately, these potatoes haven't actually sprouted as yet. So some of them have got a little sprout on them, so we'll see what happens. I'm not filling the bags right up with soil. For two reasons. One, it'll be easier to keep the water in there, and also because if I want to, I could add a little bit of soil later on. The afternoon's work is completed. We have 3 bags of Swift and 4 bags of Rocket. These are all potatoes, by the way. And 5 bags of Summer Beauty. Now the reason there are 5 bags of the Summer Beauty in part is because I put less potatoes, fewer potatoes, is because I put fewer potatoes in each bag of the Summer Beauty because they're main crop ones, so they'll be in there longer. Quite how it all works out, we won't know for some months. But we look forward to that. The next job, if you like, with gardening perspective, is to do some self-wicking pots for 4 strawberry plants. So when I do that, I'll show you what's involved with that as well. Good afternoon. It's a glorious afternoon. Today is the 12th of September 2021 and I'm overdue to plant strawberry plants that I bought a few days ago, and because of lockdown the strawberry plants are well past due being planted out. This year I haven't grown strawberries for many years, if ever. But this year I'm going to try something a bit different, and I'm going to try using wicking tubs, 1 tub per strawberry plant. And the idea is that you have a water reservoir on the bottom and you can put the water in directly into that water reservoir. And that means that the plants have got water available to them that will keep them going hopefully for 3 or 4 days. So what I'm using, because I have them, are some, I think they're probably 10 or, we'll call them 10 litre pails. And for the reservoir inside I'm using 1 kg yogurt containers. I did toy with the idea of actually using 3 containers in here, like so. But as I've set about to do this, I've decided that actually I'm just going to use one. Now the reason, there are a couple of reasons. One is I'm not entirely sure that by pouring water into one and having holes in it, that it would transfer, the water would transfer appropriately through the soil to the other water reservoirs. And also I don't really need that much water storage in there. So the idea is, we'll get rid of these two, that you take your container and you drill a hole through what will be the bottom of it and a hole in the top of it, and then I've got a bigger hole here that this is actually irrigation tubing that I had lying around, and that's why I'm using it. That will go into there. The container will have its lid on it, like so, nice and firmly. And then I can put that in there, like so, put all the soil around it, and I can top up the water reservoir through there. And the water will fill that reservoir up to where the hole is in the container, and then it will come out the top. On the side of the bucket I have a hole here that I have drilled so that I will know when there is sufficient water in the reservoir, because that is actually set, that hole is drilled slightly below where the hole is in the water reservoir. So when the water comes out of the water reservoir, it will eventually come out of here and I'll know to stop filling. And then it will work out its own level. The water might run out of there for a while as it comes out of the soil, that's fine. But the plan is so that you've then got a water reservoir that the strawberry plants can go down and find moist soil, but you haven't got a soggy, slurry mess in the bottom of your pot, because there will be a gap between where the water reservoir is in the container inside and where it runs out outside. So there'll be that bit of soil there, but also above that will be where most of the roots and things are, but they'll be able to draw that water from down there. That's the theory. We'll see how it goes. So how have I done that? Well, I used a spade bit to drill the hole in the top here for my irrigation tubing, because that's what I had, and I've just used an ordinary steel bit to drill the holes, the two holes in the yogurt container, one there and one over here. I've actually drilled 2 in the bottom because all it's really should, for the most part, that'll be coming and going out of the top one will be air until it's full. But I want the moisture to come out both sides of the bucket at the bottom and not just one side. So that's the plan. As you can see, some of these strawberry plants are well past being planted. They've got strawberries on them already. 2 of them haven't, 2 of them have. So I have a bucket for each one, and one of the less helpful things about what's available in New Zealand is that often the manufacturers, suppliers, whatever you like, of things like compost mixes and things like that, they don't give you any NPK indication on it. They just say, oh well, it's for tomatoes or it's for vegetables or whatever. But that's not altogether helpful. But what I've done is I've thought, well, tomato mix, tomatoes are a fruiting plant, strawberries are a fruiting plant, and so tomato mix should be fine for strawberries. Now, just a word of warning in case you don't know. Most of you will know, but some of you may not. On here, it's got beware of the health warning. Read the health warning before you open the bag. You might think, well, what's that about? Well, I haven't actually read the health warning, but what I can tell you is that compost and these type of things often have microorganisms in them. And one of the dangerous ones is Legionella, which causes Legionnaire's disease, which can be fatal. And so hence the warning. So when you open these bags, don't breathe in what immediately comes out of there. And just be careful. It's quite breezy out here today, which is great. If I was doing it in an enclosed space, which I don't do, but if I was, I would wear a mask. And I'm just careful when I pour it in that I'm not breathing in what's going into the bucket. So let's put this in and plant our first strawberry plant. This mix is actually quite damp, and also you'll probably notice that the strawberry plants I've actually got in a bath of water because they've been sitting for a while. So I'm going to put those in there. I'm going to give that a good water after moving the drill. Now, what you should do for the first, maybe even up to a week, it kind of depends a little bit on whether it rains and all those kind of things. But initially you do need to water from the top. And so that's what I'm going to do now, just gently here. Excuse the strangled chicken. I will later on put either some straw, which I don't have at this point, or I might even just put some shredded paper, which I do have, on top of this for two reasons. This is weed free, supposedly, but that doesn't stop other weeds blowing in there from around here. I will put some shredded paper on top of here and I'll wet that down, and hopefully that will also help to keep the blackbirds out, because the blackbirds are a real pain at the moment. Whenever you're in the garden, even while you're still in the garden, they will come out, and it's amazing how much real estate they can move in a very short time. We've had the other strawberry plants I had them in the cover and I uncovered them. They're quite small plants and they just ripped them out. Twice that happened when I accidentally left the cover off them. So therein lies the problem. Now you can see how that's drained away already, so I'll give that a little bit more, because I'm in no danger of drowning the roots, because I know that the water can get away down the bottom. And by doing this, I know that the potting mix or the mixture in here, it's not potting mix actually, but anyway, that the mix that I'm putting them in has got good drainage, so that's not going to be a problem. let's go and find some shredded paper. So I've kept this just for this purpose. Well, it'll go in the compost bin or whatever, but pretty careful what goes into the shredder, so no cellophane, no plastic, you know, things like that, just paper. So I'm going to put some of this down here, all around here. This too is an experiment. We'll see if the birds leave it alone or make a big mess with it. We could end up with shredded paper everywhere. So that's one. We'll see how we go with the rest of them. So I also filled it via the pipe, and now you can see that's what's coming out there. Now I don't want that to happen too much because it'll wash all the nutrients out. So once that settles down, it'll be fine. And I'll try not to do that again in a hurry. You may be wondering why I'm actually growing strawberries in pots when I could actually just put them in the garden. Two reasons really. One is there's not a lot of room left in the veggie garden anyway, but the main reason is that things, because in Hawke's Bay we have, for New Zealand, hot summers. We're in the region that is on the east coast of the North Island, and we don't get a lot of rain in the summer and we get a lot of heat. So I don't know what the average temperature is in the summer. It's probably about 25 or 27 Celsius, something like that, but it can get up to 34. Now for some of you that's not hot at all, but it is for here, and it makes it hard to keep plants like strawberries and others watered, and so this is a way around that problem. It also means if we want to go away for a few days that we can do that without fear of all of these things dying. The reason, you can see behind me the bags that I did of potatoes yesterday. You may also be wondering why I put the potatoes in pots. The one reason is the same and another reason is different. So the first reason is the same. I just don't have the garden space to put out potatoes. And the second is that we're still in danger of frost here through to late October into November. So I've put them in the bags here right along beside the house next to the veranda, so that if we're going to get a frost, I can either just quickly cover them with some frost cloth, which I have, or I can just pull them in under the veranda and then pull them out again the next day. That's the reason why they're in pots, and because I just do not have the garden space to put them out into the ground and to use that ground for the period that potatoes need. So I'd much rather plant, greens and tomatoes and those kind of things, which obviously, have a similar period, but you can see what's happening with them, so that if they do get blight or whatever, you can deal with it straight away. That's it for today, I think.